Hey everyone! If you are into relaxing games, 2000s nostalgia, and that satisfying feeling of fixing electronics piece by piece, you just found the perfect game. In today's video, I bring you 10 advanced tips for ReStory, chill electronics repairs, that will turn your Tokyo workshop into a profit and reputation machine. From repair optimization to customer secrets that most people miss, these tips are essential for anyone who wants to truly master the game. I am Mary, and let's get into the video. The game's mechanics place you in a position where time is money, and nothing is worse than having an urgent repair in hand and discovering that you are missing that exact specific piece you needed. The genius of this tip lies in anticipating the problem before it happens. When you disassemble common devices like Pokia, Egatachi, or Noni Gomen, which are cheap to buy in the marketplace or appear in online orders, you are basically building a free parts bank. Instead of relying on individual orders every time you need a component, you already have what you need in your spare parts box. This completely changes your workflow. Urgent repairs, the ones that yield more money and reputation, don't get stuck waiting for parts delivery. You reduce shipping costs, avoid delays that frustrate clients, and most importantly, keep your workshop's rhythm always at its maximum. It is that satisfying feeling of always being one step ahead. And in ReStory, that translates into more profit and faster progression. At the end of the day, this is one of those tips that seems obvious after you think about it, but makes all the difference in practice. It's the type of strategy that transforms the chaos of a disorganized workshop into an efficient and profitable operation. If you want to take ReStory seriously, start building your spare parts stock from day one. Your future workshop self will thank you. The reassembly checklist doesn't just serve to show the order of the parts. It also functions as a sort of final diagnosis, revealing whether the problem is dirt, a missing component, or genuinely the need to buy a new part. Since the game revolves around disassembling, cleaning, substituting components, and reassembling devices, learning to consult this information significantly changes the pace of repairs. I recommend opening the full checklist as soon as the device is disassembled, before rushing to the computer and spending money. Often, the player sees a highlighted part and immediately assumes they need to replace it, but the issue might just be a thorough cleaning or even a screw left behind. This pause of a few seconds avoids impulse purchases and helps preserve the shop's money, something especially important at the start of the campaign. I also see this tip as a way to better organize the workflow. Instead of constantly switching between the workbench, storage, and the online store, you can identify everything that actually needs to be done all at once. Clean certain components, look for a specific part, and follow the correct order during assembly. This reduces rework, decreases the chances of forgetting an item, and makes repairs much faster, especially when more complex devices start showing up. To me, the secret turns the checklist into an automatic habit. Disassembled the device, cleaned what was necessary, opened the full list, and only then decided if it was worth buying anything. It is a simple strategy, but it separates the careful technician from the player who wastes money on unnecessary parts. In the end, you save money, serve more clients, and grow the workshop with much more consistency. Instead of relying solely on customer orders, you transform the workshop into a small operation of buying, restoring, and reselling. The game allows you to buy broken electronics, recover useful parts, or fix them completely to sell for a higher value. The secret lies in not buying just any cheap device. I would look primarily for devices with a high discount, seemingly simple defects, and multiple parts that can be reused in other fixes. Sometimes the entire used device costs less than a single new part from the supplier, so it functions as an extremely lucrative donor. But it is important to verify if the broken parts are not precisely the ones you need. After buying, it is worth disassembling the device calmly, separating what is functional, carefully cleaning the dirty parts, and evaluating if it is worth restoring the entire unit. When the repair is viable, reselling usually yields more than simply stripping components. When the defect is severe, the device can still pay for its purchase through the salvageable parts. This balance between reselling and disassembling is what turns the tip into a strategy, rather than just a gamble. This method becomes even stronger after you earn the basic licenses, because they expand the types of equipment you can buy, repair, and sell. I would use customer orders to maintain a safe cash flow and take advantage of the best marketplace opportunities as parallel investments. This way, it is much easier to gather the necessary yen for expensive licenses without relying exclusively on repetitive jobs. This tip about managing the time of day and the mail carrier is one of the most subtle and powerful that you can apply in ReStory. The game has a well-defined daily cycle, and understanding how time works within the mechanics is what separates those who merely survive from those who truly thrive in the workshop. The trick here is that parts ordered via the Y2K browser arrive instantly, but only if you place the order at the right time of day. If you wait until late afternoon or evening to order, you run the risk of running out of material right when you need it most. The strategy is simple. Place your parts orders at the beginning or middle of the day when there is still enough time for delivery to arrive before closing. This allows you to reserve the late afternoon for what really matters, reassemblies and deliveries. It is during this time that you concentrate the most urgent and lucrative repairs without getting stuck waiting for parts to arrive. The game punishes you if you run out of material during peak customer hours, and nothing is more frustrating than having a client in front of you ready to pay and you with no way to complete the service. This is one of those tips that seems small but completely changes your game rhythm. Managing the time of day and the mail carrier gives you total control over the workshop's flow. You decide when to buy, when to fix, and when to deliver, instead of being held hostage by chance. If you want to master ReStory, start planning your parts orders as part of your daily routine. Your cash register and reputation will thank you. Since ReStory involves disassembling, cleaning, replacing parts, and reassembling different devices, cleaning upgrades have a direct impact on almost every repair. Therefore, I would start with the brush and then invest in the air duster or sandblaster. The brush handles the basic job, but the blowing or blasting tools make cleaning much faster and more comfortable. To me, this is the type of improvement that pays for itself naturally because it appears constantly during services and significantly reduces the time spent on repetitive tasks. In a management simulator, gaining speed in each repair ends up being just as important as saving money on parts. After cleaning, I would prioritize the electric screwdriver or the ratchet, especially when devices start requiring many screw removals. Next, soldering tools start making sense once that type of repair becomes available, as they expand what you can fix and prevent the workshop from being limited solely to cleaning and component swapping. The game features multiple tools and a detailed restoration system, so choosing upgrades that increase your working capacity is a safer decision. The airbrush is a very cool improvement, but I would leave it for a time when the cash flow is already healthy. Visual customization can increase perceived value and make clients more satisfied, besides being one of the most creative parts of the game. Still, at the beginning, it does not help as much as cleaning faster or disassembling efficiently. I would follow this order: cleaning, disassembly speed, soldering, and only then aesthetics. This way, the workshop grows with productivity before pursuing extra profit from customization. Licenses are not just optional improvements. They function as major milestones that unlock new categories of devices, more valuable orders, and better opportunities in the marketplace. Sources about the game also highlight that they are among the main objectives and allow you to both accept specific repairs and buy and resell those devices. Therefore, I would avoid spending money without a plan, especially when I'm getting close to the cost of a license like Noni PMP, Play Machine, Machine or Atari. At that moment, my priority would be to accept the highest paying orders, even if they take a bit longer, and supplement income by buying broken devices with good discounts to restore and resell. The idea is to always keep a reserve designated for the next license, instead of spending everything on tools or low-profit devices. The most important thing is to think of the license as an investment, not an expense. In the beginning, it might feel painful to hand over a large amount of money for a single unlock, but from then on, you start working with equipment that was previously out of reach and can find much higher profit margins. It is like stepping up a stair. Money decreases immediately, but the workshop's earning potential increases significantly. I follow a very simple order. First, gather the license value, then buy only the essential items, and next, explore the new orders and marketplace devices to recover the investment. This strategy avoids that feeling of always being poor in the game and turns each license into a concrete goal. Before you know it, the workshop is already generating enough money to finance the next unlock. Complete cleaning is undoubtedly one of the most important things for anyone who wants to truly master ReStory. The game does not reward you just for fixing. It rewards you for fixing well. And that means not skipping steps even when the part seems to be in good condition. The mechanic is clear. Each device you disassemble can be in different states: normal, dirty, or damaged. And that is where many players make mistakes. They see a part that looks okay and skip the cleaning to save time. But the game punishes this haste. Well-cleaned and properly assembled devices generate much better customer feedback, which translates into a higher reputation and, consequently, the ability to charge more for your services. Furthermore, complete cleaning opens doors you wouldn't even imagine at the start of the game. High reputation is not just a pretty number on the screen. It unlocks more dialogue options with clients, better narrative endings, and even the chance to sell items in the marketplace at a premium price. It is that feeling that the extra effort was worth it. You not only earn more money, but you also build a relationship of trust with your Tokyo workshop community. This is one of those tips that seems annoying at first, but makes all the difference in the long run. Complete cleaning equals better reputation and selling price is not just a nice phrase, it is the foundation of a solid strategy in ReStory. If you want to take the game seriously, treat every part as if it were your own. Your cash register, your reputation, and your alternative endings will thank you. The workshop also functions as a meeting point between people, and the choices made during dialogues can influence clients' lives, the store's direction, and the story's multiple endings. In a playthrough focused on money, it makes sense to charge more commercially, accept the most advantageous services, and avoid wasting time on long conversations. But I think always playing that way strips away an important part of the game's charm. When something strange turns up inside a device or a client shares a personal problem, it is worth investigating and listening carefully because these situations give more personality to the campaign. In my narrative runs, I would treat each client as a potential quest line, not just as someone dropping electronics on the workbench. Helping someone, charging a fair price, or making a more human decision can open up new interactions, different orders, and the return of characters who otherwise might disappear. The game's own premise highlights clients with unique stories and a branched narrative based on choices. The best balance, in my opinion, is to separate objectives by playthrough. In one run, test how far you can maximize profit. In another, prioritize dialogues, investigations, and positive decisions. This way, you don't feel like you are sacrificing the store's economy at all times, but you also manage to discover the narrative content that makes ReStory more special. It is the type of game where making money is satisfying, but realizing that a choice of yours changed a client's story can be even more rewarding. To me, organizing the workbench is almost as important as knowing how to fix, because a messy workshop makes you waste time and greatly increases the chance of making a mistake. In ReStory, parts go through different states: normal, dirty, or damaged, and each requires a specific destination: reassembly, cleaning, or disposal. I like to imagine the workbench as a production line. First are the dirty parts, then the ones that need cleaning, next the good or spare parts, and finally everything that is already ready for assembly. If a part is broken, I send it straight to the trash. Leaving useless components mixed with the others only creates confusion and makes it harder to identify what can actually be salvaged. This organization makes a huge difference on devices with many components, like the Nani Go Man. In those cases, I would try to keep the checklist open and follow the disassembly in a consistent order, paying attention to the location of each part. If necessary, it is even worth taking a mental photo of the workbench before starting to disassemble, because reassembling dozens of components without reference can turn into a true puzzle. In my ideal workflow, I only start assembly when all parts are already cleaned, separated, and checked. This makes the process smoother, reduces that desperate search for a missing component, and avoids disassembling the same device multiple times. After all, the ReStory experience itself values this careful sequence of removing, organizing, cleaning, and reassembling each part. The game places you in a position where you need to manage multiple sources of income, and understanding the difference between each of them is what separates those who merely survive from those who truly thrive in the workshop. Each type of order has its specific purpose in the game. In-person orders are the narrative heart of ReStory. This is where you build relationships with clients, listen to their stories, and make decisions that directly impact the endings you will achieve. Online orders, on the other hand, provide volume. They are fast, constant, and keep your cash flow going. The marketplace, meanwhile, is where pure profit and parts reside. This is where you buy broken devices at a low price, fix them, and sell them with a high margin. Customization comes in as the final touch that turns a good player into an excellent one. After unlocking the airbrush and advanced licenses, personalizing devices before selling is not just aesthetics, it is strategy. Customized devices are worth more, generate more customer satisfaction, and allow you to charge a premium price. It is that feeling that the investment in the right tools was worth it. You not only earn more money, but you also build a reputation for quality. In the long run, the secret is to mix the three types of orders intelligently. Do not focus on just one. Use in-person ones for narrative and reputation, online ones for constant volume, and the marketplace for maximum profit. This balance keeps your cash flow stable, prevents you from running out of work at any point, and most importantly, allows you to explore all the endings the game offers. If you want to master ReStory, treat this balancing act as an essential part of your daily routine.